Hello everyone, Asylum Child here. I thought today I'm going to try and do a series of videos because it's going to have to be a series, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some slow it down and step by step showing you how, I paint a picture, how I do one of the pictures. I've been doing a lot of speed painting and everything, but I was like, no, people don't really get a feel for all it takes to get into these kind of pictures and everything. It's probably going to be a series if I finish the picture at all, but I wanted to just kind of show you how I do things from start to finish. It does take a lot of time and things like that. So this might be a series of pictures, but let's get started. Now there's going to be some music going because, well, I have to have music to kind of concentrate on what I'm doing, ADD and whatever. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is the size of your file. So we're going to open a new file here. And what I do is I do 24 by 2423 by 3500 at a resolution of 100. And I've actually saved this as a standard art customized thing. I got these dimensions from one of my idols, Stanley Art Germ Lau, and he does his pictures at this size. This is a very good size because it's big enough to where you can get all your details and stuff in with line work in case you're doing line work and stuff. Also, you notice that the paper color is gray. That's because if you want to go with 50% gray or whatever, that's fine. But I keep it at gray because it really brings out colors and it's not stark white. If you go with stark white, it kind of washes out your colors with your eyes. And if it washes out your color with your eyes, it's going to wash out your colors with your illustrations and your paintings. So it's best if you have your paper either at this, a color gray, maybe a 50% gray. Let's see if I can find a 50% gray. No, can't change it to a 50%. Whatever. If you want to change it to like 50% gray or something, that's even better. But this is your paper, so that you're working on. So we got a first layer, which it always does a first raster layer at first. And I've talked about in one of my other videos about the difference between raster and vector. But we're not really going to be doing line art. What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and do a painting type of art instead of just, well, I'll do some line art, whatever. We'll get started. So you guys know I use models because that way I get my proportions right and everything. This is my reference folder. As you can see, I've got all kinds of characters from anime. I got Tracer, I got Widowmaker from Overwatch. I've got anime characters and different people's styles, different people's line arts, different people's, designs and things, so I can get some ideas for lighting and even some one-page lessons like how to draw hair and eyes and things like that. It's always good to have all kinds of stuff for you to reference with, so you can get your own style and things too, and references for like different eyes and things like that in case you need it. I also have like these, which are skin tones and hair tones and stuff, so I can pick the right colors if I'm having problems picking the right colors for certain pictures and things like that. I also have logos and things that I put for my thumbnails, that you'll probably see from my thumbnails on my videos and stuff like that. So it's just a mishmash of all kinds of things, so it's good to have a reference folder. And I'm Patreon for Prywinko and Dandon Fuga, and if you haven't seen those two girls' artwork, they are fantastic and they're idols of mine. So I also have like folders of some of their stuff, so I get references and stuff from that too. But mostly what I do, I also have a folder of Daz models because I use Daz Studio 3D for my models. So we're just going to do let's just do a simple girl. We'll kind of make it go along the way. So let's see, find a simple pose real quick that I can do a face or something with... let's go with... let's go with this one. This one looks cool. Okay. Don't mind the boobs. If anybody's got a problem with boobs, well, that's your problem. So, okay. So first thing I gotta do is cut this down. So I take my rectangle tool and I choose just the model. Then you go Control C, which is copy. Then you go to our illustration page. We go Control V, which is paste. So, and it's really small on here. See, I made it on another thing, so it made it really small. So we go Control T. By the way, I'm using Clip Paint Studio, or Clip Studio Paint Pro. It might be different commands for Photoshop or whatever you use, but that's the one for Clip Paint Studio. So, okay. So I'll just make it bigger, and I don't want to do our whole body. We want to focus on, let's just focus on mostly a face. So it's getting to be bigger than the canvas, so try to, yeah, that's pretty good. We'll make about like that. There we go. That's good. That's a good start. Okay, to go back, you go Control 0 and it takes you right back to the size. Now what we're going to do, some people have given me some crap and over time and everything about tracing. But what we're going to do is we're not going to just trace the whole thing and say, oh, well, that's not really your artwork. You just trace this DAZ Studio model. Well, what we're going to do is we're just going to get the basic outline. So I'm going to turn the opacity down. I'm going to make a raster layer because I want raster layer. And we're going to go with just go with a pencil tool. I use a darker pencil tool. Make sure it's not locked. And we're going to go with this dark red color, like this dark red color, kind of a brownish color. That's a really good, that's a really good sketch color because you can really get in there and see it, So go to about like 8, and then we'll just start getting an idea of how we want her shape. So we're going to use this as a reference to sketch her face and body and stuff, because we're not really going to do, I don't want to do a line art piece. I want to do like more of a traditional looking painting style. So this is a rough sketch. And pretty much when you're doing a rough sketch, we're just kind of getting a feel for where the natural lines are. We're not really using the same lines and stuff. Like I'm gonna make her eyes and stuff different when I draw her. As you can tell, it's real rough. I am not keeping my lines straight or curves or anything. I'm just getting ideas of how this lays out. And it's not that I can't draw. A lot of people, they've asked me, they said, okay, Daniel, can you really draw, or do you just all the time trace? Because, tracing is good for learning your style, but you should really learn how to draw it. Oh, I do. I know how to draw. It's just, I'm also using a Wacom tablet. And the Wacom tablet is kind of like, I know I've explained this on other videos too. The Wacom tablet is kind of like a, what is that called? A blind contour. If you've ever been in an art class, you know what the dreaded blind contour drawing is. It's where you are looking at your subject and not looking at your drawing pad or your sketch pad, and you're trying to draw on the sketch pad what you're looking at without looking at your drawing. So you can't really see where your lines are. You're just kind of hoping that you're getting them where they need to be. And the truth is, it can be a big old mess. Because I have tried to do blind contour just as an exercise, and you try to draw people especially, it ends up looking like a Picasso, which makes me wonder if that's how Picasso came up with the idea of cubism, because of blind contour drawings. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it at all. Sometimes you get the most creative strokes of genius exploring some of your mistakes. Your mistakes could lead to somebody else's successes. Little philosophical study there. You're welcome. So, as you can tell, I'm just talking to you guys, listening to Egyptian techno music, and just quickly sketching in. Which, by the way, another thing too, everybody, why are you always doing nude girls? Why are you always... Well, I love women, number one. Duh. And you say, well, duh, you're a guy. All guys love women unless they're gay or something. But, it's like, it's not just that. It's that women are just aesthetically pleasing. I mean, men can be too, and I've drawn some men before, but I don't like drawing them as much as I like drawing women. Women are just... I don't know. Women are just more aesthetically pleasing. So there you go. It's just a preference. If you wanna draw more fantasy men or something, hey, that's fantastic. And it has nothing to do with sexual orientation or whatever. Because, like I said, two of my idols are Prywinko and Dandon Fuga, and they are both women, and they are both very well known for drawing sexy female characters. So, and neither one of them I know of are lesbians. So, I think Prywinko has a boyfriend. I'm not sure about Dandon Fuga. So they are not lesbians. So, yeah. Another reason you start off with nudes is because in order to get clothing in right, you want to make sure you get the body down first, and then you can worry about clothing. So yeah. So alright, let's see, let's go with hair here like this. Okay, sketching hair here. Should we make her a horned girl? Should we give her horns? What do you think? You think we ought to give her horns? I think we ought to make a demoness girl? You think we ought to make a demoness girl? Or we just make a normal girl this time? I don't know. I'm kind of feeling just normal girl. Maybe I'll do another tutorial with like wings and stuff, because I do winged girls and stuff too. So angels and demonesses and stuff. But my thing is, for personal reasons, sometimes the demons aren't demons, and sometimes the angels, even though they look like angels, they're not angels. So I do a lot of that. Not everything dark is evil. Just keep that in mind, you guys. Keep that in mind, gang. Not everything dark is evil. So, yep, forgot our hip down here. Don't want to forget that. So, alright. So we sketch down here, just get that down there. Yep. Yeah. Okay. All right. Down there. Okay. Now I'm not going to get rid of the photograph, even though I'm going to turn off the eyeball. You notice we'll see our sketch. And the reason why I'm not is because this is also a reference for our light source. So I'm keeping that. So we'll change this layer's name to sketch. That way we'll know what it is. Okay, we'll leave this one to be background since that's the one, so we'll go background. Okay, so what we want to do is we're going to turn down the opacity for this. Down to about like that. Okay. And we'll make another layer here. And this will be our painting layer, or our color layers. So we'll go with skin first. Now a lot of people, color sin, that's funny, okay. A lot of people, they'll start, you know, grab a marker and start, you know, going at it, you know, painting in like a marker. I do that sometimes. A lot of people do that, or a lot of people will do the the paint bucket tool. So what we'll do is we'll find a good skin tone. Let's see, we'll find a good skin tone real quick. Let's see. That's a good skin tone. And now, you know, but see, sometimes that doesn't work out so well, especially if we don't have any cut lines and stuff. So this works if you have some really good closed-in line work, which we do not. Because this is mostly, we're not doing line work, this is just the under sketch. So what we're going to do is going to use the marquee tool. And I use a polyline tool because I like to have this precise where we need it. So we don't really care much for the hair here. We're going to have hair cut in here. But where it comes in here from the background, we don't want her blending in with the background. So we're going to make sure we get along the lines that we need. Sometimes this thing's a little slow. Inch. It's a lot faster in Photoshop. It was actually too fast in Photoshop. I'm sure there's a way to adjust that, but I don't want to mess with that. Because I don't want it to be super fast, because sometimes I would try to do this in Photoshop and it was retarded. And I'm like, ugh, it was really way too fast. Okay, back to my pencil. I was seeing if it was going to be faster with the mouse, and it is not. So if you have a Wacom tablet, some things are faster with the mouse, and some things are faster with your pencil, your stylus. So be very careful with your stylus when you're doing things like this, so you don't accidentally double click, and that'll mess up your lassoing abilities, and no, that would not be good. You don't want that. So what we're doing here is we're gonna get a basic outline, because we're gonna do this traditional painting way without line art. Although line art is great, and I do a lot of line art, I just wanted to do something, challenge myself a little bit, and show you guys a bit of my challenging. I like to challenge myself, see what I can do, and you should too. It's a great practice. It's a great practice to be able to do that. It scrolls really, really slowly. Well, except for the side. Wow. Okay, so what we're going to do is, because I don't want to use a bunch of memory either, is I'm going to go in sections. Because the larger you try to do, with a lasso, the more memory this takes. My computer is pretty good with the memory, but I don't want to test it out because I'm sitting here recording a video, and I got an art program, and I got YouTube going with music and stuff. So let's not cause our computer to have too much going on. And I don't want it to suddenly process or something in the middle of me lassoing a great big detailed part. Okay, there you go. Alright, so let's go. We're gonna go with darker red here. Darker color like this. So you want a darker color than the skin tone we're going to use, because you want to start off when you're painting with shadow colors first and then brighten it up as you go along. It's a lot easier to do that. You can do the opposite if you feel more comfortable doing the highlights, you know, getting a mid-tone and then doing the shadows and then doing the highlights, you know. If you feel more comfortable doing that, you know, more power to you. That's cool too, you know. It's just, well, whatever your preference is when you're painting or you're drawing. It's, you know, it's your preference. It's your painting, your preference, your drawing. So whichever makes you feel better. Okay, makes you feel better. Sorry, pencil in the mouth syndrome. Okay, so as you notice, see, we got it blocked in. We're not going to do the hair yet, because when we get to the hair, I'm going to show you what I do for that. But as you can see, we got it all blocked in and ready to go with this color. And if you want to even out some edges, like this is a little too blocky down here, I always go with this marker tool and fill in mono. And just go like this. Just use a round brush, round hard edged brush. I just go over some of the harsher angles here if you want to, and smooth them out where she doesn't have squared off thumb, squared off knuckles and stuff. You know, it's not noticeable far off. It's noticeable up close like this. You go, oh my God, that's some really harsh angles. It's not noticeable, as you'll notice. It looks really bad right now because we're closed up. But when you go further out, see, you can't really tell that there's angles. You can see the sharp angle of her nail here, but that's her nail, and their fingernails are sharp. But like some of these other areas, you go, what about here? Well, but that's hair's going to be there. So actually, hair is going to be behind there. So what we need to do is, I kind of messed up on that, so what we're going to do is we're going to go in here, and we're going to erase this extra bit here, because, yeah, her hair is going to be behind that. So, okay, so go here, delete, yeah, because her hair is going to be behind the skin here, so, yeah, we don't need that. Any other thing like that? Okay, that's, yeah, hair's going to be behind that too. But, okay. Oh, crud. You know what? We'll get to that when we get to the hair. You know, no. You know what? Don't be lazy. Take your time and don't rush. And make sure about things like this. This hair is going to be behind his ear and everything, so we don't need her ear locked off. Okay, now we can do this because the bangs are going to be in front of her face anyway. Oh, no, that's red. Okay, there you go. Then here, the angle of her face here, we're going to get all this out. Sometimes it's the simple little processes like this that take up the most time in painting. The painting part isn't so hard. It's the prepping your piece properly. That's a lot of P's. Prepping your piece properly. So, okay. So we got the skin blocked off good, and we got the hair blocked off good, because usually it was blocked off up here, but the hair, as you can see, is going to go over her face when we do the hair. So when we do the hair, it'll be fine. Okay, so this is where we're going to use our references, or where I use references for skin tones and stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to lock this transparent so we can't paint anywhere outside of where there's paint. So we're going to do that. So we're going to start off. This is the mid-tone. So then we're going to find a good medium tone. See if that works, if that's good. Let's see. Let's see if that's good. So we'll go with soft airbrushing. We'll see if this is a good color. It looks like a pretty good color, but maybe we go a little bit more red and like that. That looks pretty cool. Okay. Maybe a little more pink. Yeah, that's good. Okay. It's always good to just, if you really doubt what you want, pick the shed color you got and kind of go up in the color wheel, up this direction in the square, and up in the color wheel until you get a nice tone like that, and that's a good mid-tone. Okay. Alright, so we got this blocked off and everything, and this is what we're going to do. You turn this on, and you turn our painting down opacity. Now see how you can see this is where the highlights go. So what you do is you use your reference to get in here. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. What was that? That was a weird thing. Okay. Oh, I see. I pushed the wrong button. Okay. You kind of put in where these highlights are. Just roughly in where the highlights go. So you can really see where they go. And the highlights are going to be kind of weird on the model because I didn't use the proper 3D rendering words 3D rendering textures. So it weren't skin textures, she's more plastic looking than textured properly. So what we're going to do is we're just getting all the proper highlights from our reference here. And it's okay if you get them in a little dark because this is the mid-tone. And it looks really like, oh my god, you're really kind of overdoing it. Well, I'm not really. It's just, it looks like it because we have it the opacity turned up. You'll see in a minute when I get out of this. So use this guide, main picture as a guide to see where highlights are as opposed to the shadows and stuff. Yep. And like that. Okay. Alright, now we turn that part off and then we turn the opacity back onto our painting. See? Now we have a good idea of where the really bright lights, where the lights are really at the skin. As you can see, let me see, I'll show you. See how it looks there? Now it looks there. So we get a good idea of where the really bright highlights are. So I'm going to keep that around just in case I need it for a reference, but you know, we do that. Okay, and then we're going to kind of round them out. We can really blend them in. Well, this is where we get the real tones in and stuff. You can play around with the tones and things. So. If in doubt you need the color again, you can always press Alt and you get the color back. So okay, let's start working on some details. So, let's see, we need the darker color. So we go toward the red, go toward the darker color, see if that's too dark, maybe too dark. Yeah, it's good for the really heavy shadows. So we'll do that. Always want to make sure you get the edges that are further away from the light, like that. Let's turn this up a bit. That's better. That's much more subtle. In fact, we'll get this and we'll turn it down here. And yeah, there you go. Okay. And instead of line work, you got like this, where you go real. You do edge work, that's what this is called, where there's definite harsh shadows, like where the light coming in over here, where her nose is. So definite edge there. Edge work is very important, especially if you're doing traditional painting style, because you're not relying on lines, like line work, to do your work for you. You are relying totally on how you can get in shapes and how they react to shadow and light. So some lines you want to really dig in with your stylus, and some lines you do not, like here in her nostril. Just a little shade right there where her lip comes in. And we'll draw in a little bit of mouth. Thing is to realize where the shadows are and where the highlights are in your drawing. Like in the crease, she's going to have a very deep shadow, and it will creep out to here. For her eyelashes and her eye, she's probably going to be wearing eye makeup anyway, but we're going to go around her eye here. Make sure we get in here. Damn, okay. Smaller instead of bigger, you gotta be careful sometimes. Okay, so ear. I have to, like that. Okay. That's the main focus, is what has shadows and where is the light source. You want weird shadows, because it's going to make your drawing look like that. You don't want too dark. If it needs to be too dark, you can always just do this. Lighten it up a little bit. There you go. lost my color there. Okay. Good line there. Now we get to do this part here. Sometimes we want lines around here that, you know, you want a good solid line like where her chin is, where her cheek and stuff goes. It's shadow. So what you do is you line that part up here. And we're just going to very lightly go over this, where her chin, where her face is going to overshadow the inside of her neck here, which is, let's see, it's going to be a little bit darker here, and because there's a pit there in her throat. So remember, it's curved here. Oh, processing, sorry. It's curved a little bit here, so you're going to have the shadow here, and then it's going to curve a small amount over that part and curve in. It's very, very important to understand the shapes of things that you are painting, which means, like, you got to remember the basic shapes, like in her neck here. She doesn't just have, you know, straight lines and stuff. This part dips in and makes a shadow, and then this part is curved because you have this cylinder here and a cylinder here in the cords of her neck. And around her chin, this is rounded here, so it's not just going to be a flat shadow. It starts up here and it curves around the shoulder here, this shoulder part here. And there's a highlight here where the light is directly going on her collarbone. So you want to remember that too. And we get on here, we get this part. I'm going to make sure we kind of do line work, but it's not really line work. It's where there's a little bit of shadow. So the roundness of her neck, the cords of her neck here. So a little bit of roundness on the corners of her neck here. Not too much, just enough to where it's beautiful. See, that may be a little too much, so what I'm going to do, bring out these, take this color here and bring out these highlights a bit more. A little more. It's not so harsh because it made her look like she had a really thick neck. There you go. Like that. Matter of fact, I might even brush it out just a little bit more, so it's not so harsh. There you go. You do not want harsh lines on a woman. Harsh lines on a woman makes them look too angular and too blah. And women are all about curved lines and soft edges. You know, women are soft and curvy, and that's what makes them women. Men have angular lines. That's why women are always talking about men having chiseled features. Well, that's what they mean by that. They have chiseled features because they have hard lines. Women, however, do not normally have hard lines. So you want to keep that in mind, and you're doing your anatomy and stuff like that. You want to make sure that you keep your lines for women to be curved and soft. Even the hard edges and stuff are curved and soft. So, okay, let's see. We're gonna go with like a little bit darker there for her lip. So get in there. Top lip kind of folds in a bit. so to make a 3D lip, you need to do the top lip is darker than the bottom lip because it folds in a bit. The bottom lip sticks out, top lip kind of folds in. Like that. And then you can do the bottom part of the lip here. I'm getting into the shadowed areas, so that's good, because then I'll really shade it out, you know. A little bit darker at this point of her lip. There you go. Matter of fact, let's really get in there and do that, and then I guess some kind of soften it up like this. See? Very well closer. See? Top lip kind of folds in above this line here. It's a slight chisel, but not a harsh one. So we'll get that in there. Yep. Okay, back to our heavy shadows. She's going to have one here for this dip in her neck, where her collarbone goes in. Just get that in there. Okay. And now I'll soften up. And up. I was really getting bad at that. I don't know what was going on. Stuttering a bit. Okay. So I'll ease up a little bit on the pressure, and then here we'll go dark again. Ease up on the pressure again. Well, that's too far. Okay. There we go. Pen pressure is very important because you don't want it to be too much, like this part here. We're going to just do some slight for the muscles. See, we don't want our muscles to be like, whoa, you know, she's not an Amazon or something, so I mean, she could be. It's just, you know, go around the edge here. Give this muscle a slight roundness to it. Kind of look like the skin's kind of connecting here. Not so much, just a little bit. If I can line it up right. Okay, there you go. And then just ease a little bit of roundness to this muscle here. There you go. Go around the back here of this tricep, bicep, whatever it's called, sep. And there's going to be shadow here. So what we're going to do is once again, handy dandy polygon lasso tool. We're going to really get in here underneath this breast. Alright. Light is really cutting in over here, so real deep, big shadow because her really gives some depth, roundness to just how far her breasts are sticking out. Even though she doesn't have very big breasts, we still want to make sure they, you know, they're round and they're standing out. And under here, under our armpit here, we're going to have a double line, so, because the skin folds a little bit like that, and around like that, and then we're going to go around to show that this is round, it's not a flat surface. And then almost meet in the middle, you know. Okay. Okay. Good. Good. Okay. Also around here, just kind of soften that up too, because the muscle goes up like that and goes around, so we need to soften up this hard edge right here. So we'll go back around the edge here, because this is a round surface, but it's also casting a large hard edge shadow. So you want to go back in here and go back across some of these lines here. Soften them up, because the breast is round and it doesn't have any harsh angles to it. And just a little bit of shadow here in between. Remember, breasts are round, so I have a little bit cast shadow underneath, like so. Nice big strokes, you know. That might be a little too dark, so what we're going to do is we're going to go like this, and we're going to go make it just a little bit darker than, you know, this color here. Or we're going to go and take this color and we're going to lighten it up just a bit to where, see, there you go. That way it doesn't look like, you know, dude, what did you do to her breast, you know? Okay, back to our dark color. This color still is here, rounded a little bit more. And around this side a little more. Okay, and then remember her ribs. Just get some ribs here, so... a little too dark. Too much pressure. Just real lightly there, because we don't want... You do not want them to have exposed ribs. When you're drawing muscle men, most of the time our ribs stick out. You do not want that for women. So take a good look at Wonder Woman and stuff, and you'll see that she does not have prominent ribs sticking out, because she may be strong and, you know, muscular, but she's still a woman and still beautiful and curvy, and see, and you want to stick with the women are curvy and soft motif. You know, you don't want even big muscle, like even if a woman is really muscular, you do not, they still have soft curves still. So you keep with the motif of them having soft curves always, even if they're muscular. You know, warrior women, like, you know, Wonder Woman, for example. You look at the actress that plays her, you know, Gal Gadot. She's still very soft, curvy. Even though she's muscular, she is soft and curvy, and, you know, she does not have harsh lines at anywhere. So, kind of emphasizing that little part of the muscle there. Oh, I lost my brush. I pushed the wrong button. Okay, make sure you don't accidentally switch your tools. I'm using the bracket tools to make the brush smaller and bigger as I go. And, you know, so sometimes I hit the P instead, and that switched it to pen. And we don't want the pen, we just want this. Okay, so I'm going over the edges. This is edge work here. So I'm going over the edges to give it, soften up the edges and give it a roundness so that it doesn't look, like it's just flat surface. Just curving out some of these curves and stuff so that it looks like, you know, a cylinder, a rounded arm instead of flat. You'll notice in real life there is a lot of things that make it look like line art. And that's because there's, if you look at your arm right now while you're watching this, and you'll see there's edges to your arm. That's because your arm is round, and there's these slight dark shadows right on the edge of your arm, your hand, anywhere that's round on your body, your legs, even the shades of your face, your cheekbones and things like that will have some lines to them because there's just a little bit of curve to it, so you can kind of cheat a little bit of without line work, because everything rounded and stuff has natural lines. Now I'm going to go around each and every one of these fingers and knuckles here. Knuckles here are going to be darker. Processing. It's going to be darker here where the knuckles go. So I'm going to take advantage of that. Now remember, your fingernails are a different texture, different material than your skin. So it's okay to have shiny nails, especially on women. It's okay to have the nails not go along with the same texture as you're going with the hands, because the skin on the hands is different from the keratin that makes up your fingernails. So it's okay to have the fingernails not go along with the same shadow effect. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go around the bed of the nails real quick so that, see those little subtle cast shadows that fingernails do. And knuckles. Do not do prominent knuckles on a woman. Now men have prominent knuckles. Women, however, if you are a woman or you have a girlfriend or wife around, or sister, someone, you know, a female around, you can look at their hands. Take a good look at their hands. You will notice that women do not have prominent knuckles. So, do not draw prominent knuckles. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter if they're making a fist or not. Do not draw prominent knuckles on a woman. Just everything's kind of subtle and just kind of implied line and subtlety more than actual, you know, men. Once again, men, when they're chiseled features, they're going to have prominent features like knuckles and things like that. You do not want to do that with a woman. Not unless she's an older woman. If you're drawing an old woman, then yeah, they're going to have wrinkles and they're going to have things like prominent knuckles and eyebrow wrinkles and things like that, because they're older, so they've got wrinkles. So unless you're drawing or painting an older woman, an old woman, do not do prominent lines in knuckles or the face, knees, anywhere like that where you've got like prominent wrinkles and stuff. Do not. The only time that it's okay to do prominent wrinkles in a young woman would be if their expression, their facial expressions. If their facial expressions carry some weight to them, like they're angry or scared or upset, then you would have some wrinkles on their forehead, you know, to show anger lines, things like that. However, if they're not showing an extreme expression of anger or, you know, disappointment or sadness or something that would cause their brows to wrinkle dramatically, do not do prominent wrinkles on a woman's face. And if you are drawing a woman from life, do not draw prominent woman wrinkles on their face, unless they're an older woman, because they would be like, dude, why'd you make me look like an old woman? And you do not want to have to try to explain that to your girlfriend or wife or model or whatever. So this is good. We're getting in here good. This might be a little dark here, so I'm gonna tone this down a bit. Right? That just a little like that. Okay. Little there. Yeah. Just a little bit. Tone it down just a bit where it's not too prominent. Same thing with this. A little too much there. Okay, back to our dark color. Alright, as you can see, she's shaping up pretty good. Shaping up pretty good. We're getting in the good shadows and everything. I might make the shadow here on this breast a little bit softer than this harsh shadow here. That's the thing about shadows. You want to make sure that your shadows, the dark shadows, are for parts that are really shadowed. Like, okay, we'll do this breast for instance. Like under here, we're going to do a really dark shadow to show that this is round and then it's curving out. Like so. And it curves down over this part here. So we're going to go over these muscles here in her ribs. Just, we're going to make those real harsh at first. You go, damn, those are awfully dark. Don't worry, we're going to soften them up, trust me. So we're going to go in here, we're getting really into there. I mean, reel in there and do a real hard line first, like this. Then we go back over it and soften it up. Keeping in mind of the muscles that we just drew in. Like so. Okay. And if you draw over the harsh lines, that's okay. It still makes subtle shadows. Like so. Okay. Go over here. This line here. This line's here in her stomach and her chest. We're gonna just kinda paint in. Just kinda. You want to make sure you got real soft strokes here. Because, like I said, you don't want any harsh lines, and that goes for tummies and stuff too. Do not make harsh lines in tummies. Unless you're trying to really show off muscle or something. And if there's really Amazonian or something, then okay. But if they're not, don't do really harsh lines until it comes to the belly button. And the belly button, you got your own belly button to look at, but as you'll notice, it is a hole in your tummy. So it's okay to have that be in. We're going to do some lines here. Do a line here. Okay. It's a little darker as it goes down her tummy. So, like that. Might have to rethink her legs over here, but fine. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Okay. I'll just like this. That way we can get in that line there. And we'll just real light go in here. Okay. Remember to go all around the muscle lines we made. Like that. Okay. This will be a little bit lighter because it's not really into the skin. This, however, goes real into the skin. So, right there. Ta-da! Good, good. Okay, and then a little bit. Oh, too much. Okay. And get in here with this wrinkle here because there's an extra one there. Okay. Some subtlety. To the lines, to the shadows. Yep. And then back over here. Oh, my bad. Okay. There. See the highlights and stuff? Works out really well. Okay, so now back to the hard shadows again. Okay, we're gonna go back around here. This part is a lot away from the light source, which is coming this way. So, I'm gonna try to get that in there. Line like that, see, so it's not so heavy. A little bit, not too much, like that. That way you can see the muscle there, you know. Like I said, remember, no harsh lines, because this is a woman. Women are not harsh lines, so. We're just going to lightly do around here. So we'll probably even turn it up to a lighter shadow, like that, for the harsher shadow. Like kind of an underlight. A lot of rounded objects have that, kind of an underlight. So instead of like this color, they're going to have like just a little bit more like that. Like that, see? A little bit on some of these edges. Yeah. Same thing with like the face here. Like underneath the nose here. Okay, for the lips there. Okay, that's a good start. That's a good start. We're going to get more into the shadows and everything as we go along. That should be pretty good for this little session, and I'll continue on later on and show you guys more shadowing and stuff. But this is a very good start to the skin tones and stuff. So tune in next time, and thanks for watching. Bye.